Hello guys, I am back from another video, and then yes, this is actually gonna be Izuku's hero costume. So, yeah, surprise. So, I am back from another video, and today we're talking about Deku was the Grim Reaper. So, in the last video, Deku, well, I'm not gonna tell you what happened last time because I'm currently kind of sleepy. So, yeah, this is going to be your explanation. So, in the last video, Deku, it turns out Ezekiel starts getting ready to go to his, well, hero school of choice, which is UA. The reason why is he wants to become a hero so he can take care of the world, or at least his part of, his country. So, after replying to the school, Ezekiel starts going to, the entrance exam. Ezekiel finished it with fine colors by destroying the two zero-pointers, but also he finished it with a graceful bow, which also makes him the number one in, the leaderboard, basically. Not only that, Ezekiel also saved, Todoroki and a girl by the name of Ochako Uraka. So, yeah, after that, Izuku also met them when they gone to Class 1A for their first day at UA. So, yeah, that's basically what happened last episode. So, let's talk about what happens next. So, after Izuku wakes up, Izuku starts getting ready for class as Izuku starts training. So, after a while of training, Izuku starts moving on to get ready for Class 1A. So, after Izuku does that, he starts leaving for everybody to do whatever the hell they want. So, Izuku moves as Izuku gets there pretty early. So, Izuku just decides to get some rest for now to just wait for the rest of his classmates. So, after a while, it turns out some of his classmates have arrived, and Izuku wakes up and sees nobody at the front of the desk. Well, not yet anyway. So, after a few seconds, a teacher arrived, which he calls himself Mr. Wait for a second. Mr. Washing Machine, as he explains that they're gonna be having their first class, which is just a simple math class. So everybody was bummed out because it's going to be like regular school, but except with, hero training. Ezekiel doesn't mind it, so everybody starts doing the entire test. Or or at least like learning math again. So yeah. So after a while, it's almost time for their special class, which they had a special teacher that was never told to them directly, like who he or she really is, but it turns out it's gonna be a special hero. So, after waiting a bit too long, they see the teacher of their brand new class. But when they first saw them, they heard this before they saw them. I'm coming through the door like a normal person. As Izuku and the rest of his classmates see that the door swinged open and also bringing off his hinges, and also they see the door completely broken. As they see in front of them All Might. Everybody was completely excited seeing All Might, including not like, you know, not including Izuku because, he doesn't really care, but including them is Bakugo. Wait for a second. So, as All Might starts picking their, teams, All Might says this. Alright, we're gonna be starting off our heroics class, but before we start, what's with a hero without his or her costumes then? So, everybody was given a suitcase, including Izuku, of their hero costumes. So, Ezekiel already picked up a prototype which was given to him by his parents, or at least his quote unquote parents. So, yeah. So, after Ezekiel got his brand new clothes, or hero costume, and also changed, everybody was already outside, waiting for him. As when Ezekiel comes out, Ezekiel looked like this, basically. As everybody started flocking to him, saying that Ezekiel makes him, well, Ezekiel looks like a warlord from a action RPG, which Ezekiel thought it was an insult, but Ezekiel just ignored it. As some of his classmates started trying to, well, say that he looks awesome, but somewhat, you know, made it turn out that Ezekiel thought it was, death threats. So, yeah. So, after that, All Might says that they're going to be starting off their heroes class by doing a heroes versus, well, villain mock battle. So, Ezekiel is going to be paired up with a girl, which is Ochako. As for Bakugo, he's going to be pairing off with, well, Todoroki. So, wait for a second. So, after doing that, they started going off to their separate ways. So, Ezekiel was told that they're gonna be the villains. So, everybody starts saying, I guess it makes sense. After all, Ezekiel kind of looks like a villain, or at least a fantasy one. As Ezekiel just looks at, well, Kaminari, which he was the one who said that, as he says this. Sorry. So, Ezekiel, after doing that, he starts moving on and gets ready. So, Ezekiel puts the bomb in its place. As for. Wait for a second. Ochako, he starts, or should I say she, starts throwing off some weird looking cans. These cans have special explosives, which were created from Izuku after tempering with some, experimentation. Now let's just say the experimentation is not what you think. So, after Izuku does that, Izuku starts moving on to actual things. Like, for example, your money and your bravo. So, yeah. So, as the brand new test was about to start, or at least the test where they're gonna be, you know, wait for a second, showing off that they're going to become heroes very soon, Izuku starts getting ready as they see Bakugo and Todoroki start moving out. So, Bakugo starts charging towards Izuku first, while for Todoroki, she starts, or should I say he, because, it's actually he, honestly, not foreshadowing anything. So, Bakugo starts charging towards Izuku, but for, well, Todoroki, he starts charging towards Ochako. So, while Izuku is fighting Bakugo using these two blades given to him by the Archangel, well, Raphael, Izuku decides to use this. So, Izuku learned this after a while of training with Azrael, his patron, well, saint, or at least like saint that his church, well, worships. Izuku starts creating blue flames. Flames that, sorry, flames that are actually made from Izuku's soul. As Izuku starts throwing them at Bakugo, as Bakugo said this, wait, how the hell did you learn that? As Izuku just says this, well, I learned this after a while of training, unlike you. As Izuku starts charging towards Bakugo, after getting burned from those flames, Izuku defeats him by making him fall to his knees. So, So yeah, that's basically what happened to him and Bakugo. As for Ochako, she was done defeating her, or should I say he? I meant he, obviously. So after defeating, well, him, aka, wait for a second, Todoroki, they were declared the winner. So after doing that, they started leaving. So after leaving, it's basically the weekends, so they can do whatever the hell they want. So, Izuku starts getting ready for some more training, and after a bit of training, decides to go into the city to have some alone time. So, wait for a second, this is actually gonna be a little bit of a important part over here. So, Izuku starts moving around the city looking through the entire city, like looking around shops and looking around like entertainment districts. But Izuku thought it was pretty boring until Izuku heard a scream. When Izuku heard the scream, it sounded like a girl, so he goes into the alleyway where Izuku heard it and sees some demons. These demons were taking the form of humans, which Izuku senses by by his glowing sigils on one of his eye, like this part over here. So after discerning that they're demons, Izuku sees a girl. This girl was not illegible at all for now. So Izuku starts trudging towards them by creating, well, his friend and also partner, which he now prefers to call, Thanatos. Thanatos starts ripping them apart, while Izuku starts ripping them apart, obviously. So, after defeating them all in an instant, Izuku just says this: "Hey, are you okay?" As Izuku sees that the girl was Todoroki. Whoa, what a freaking surprise! God dang it. So, turns out Todoroki was disguised as a guy. So, after Izuku was, somewhat surprised, but just keep his composure, as Izuku just says this. So, you were pretending to be a guy? As she says this. Yeah. As Izuku just says this. Okay. So, why are you pretending to be a guy in the first place? As she says this. Well, I've been trying to find jobs mostly for strong, boys. But when I show them my hands, they look super, mad. So, yeah, she's kind of a wreck. As Izuku just says this. But why exactly are you doing this, Miss Todoroki? As she says this. Well, my mother, she's actually in the mental hospital, mostly because she kind of has schizophrenia. As Izuku just says this. Schizophrenia? As she says this. Yeah, and I want to get a treatment for her immediately. As Izuku just says this. Sorry, but why? But you know that it's not really a curable disease. It's actually a mental, disease. So it's better for you to try and get, a wait for a second, a therapist or something. As she says this. Wait, really? As Izuku just says this. Yeah, you just need to get a therapist. As she says this. Um, thank you. Either way. So, after that day, Izuku just ignored everything what happened, as Izuku just does what the heck he wants. So, It's still the weekend, so Izuku decides to have some fun for now, which is pretty weird for the church because rarely Izuku had fun, or at least approximation of fun. So, Izuku sees that he has, well, his other childhood friend, which is a boy with a normal fire breathing quirk. So, he saw Izuku's brand new flames, which is blue, he decides to ask Izuku if he can learn these types of fire. But Izuku only telling them that this type of magic can cost them their life if they want to. Even though that's actually a lie, they believe that. So, yeah. So, after a while of convincing, it turns out they thought the Death Punch was a type of quirk. But unfortunately, it's not. So, wait for a second again. Sorry about that. I was a bit tired at that time. Sorry. So, after telling his childhood friend that he can't learn this type of, well, fire, he says this. So, I'm stuck with this normal fire, as Ezekiel just says this. Yeah, you're pretty much stuck with that. Sorry about that. As he says this. Oh, bummer. As Ezekiel just says this. Maybe you can try enough. Maybe you can even make a fire that's similar to mine, I guess. As he says this. Well, I guess I feel motivated to do that. As Ezekiel just says this. Okay, I'll be leaving. I'm gonna be doing some more training. As he says this. Good luck, Izuku. As Izuku just says this. Good luck to you too. So, after Izuku does that, Izuku starts leaving. As Izuku feels like he's being watched. So, after looking around, Izuku creates his blades and sees Ochako. And when Izuku looked a little bit further, that was not Ochako, it's actually Todoroki. You thought it was Ochako, but it was me, Todoroki. So, yeah. Todoroki says this. Hello, Izuku. As Izuku just says this. Why are you near the dumpsters? As she says this, well, I also work as a little garbage girl. As Izuku just says this. So you basically work as a garbage lady. As she says this, yeah, I would sometimes rummage around the trash and get, spare parts and also some, money to try and help my mother out. As Izuku just says this, how about your father? Like, are you going to, tell him just, as she says this, no thanks. As Izuku just says this, okay, very well. So, after doing that, Izuku just tells them, or at least her, because she's all alone, that she can do whatever they want with that book. I don't really care, especially for Izuku because he doesn't really care about that book, as Izuku just leaves. So, after getting there, Izuku was told that he's gonna be killing another demon. Apparently, he's been hibernating near the school, so Izuku was told that he's gonna be killing it pretty soon because apparently the egg is going to hatch very soon. So, yeah, after being told of this, Izuku starts moving and starts going to bed because he needs to get some sleep. So, yeah. So, that's basically what happened in this episode. This will be the end. So, I hope you liked the video. Comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.